Hello everybody, welcome to my video. My name is Crystal and I've been tasked with presenting Appendix B. Now, unlike the chapter presentations, this is going to be a little bit different. And we're just basically going to be looking at a worksheet, and I'm going to give you those some of the main topics that I saw in this worksheet. And this worksheet is for assessing threats to the validity of findings and recommendations for qualitative impact evaluation design. Whoa, that is a mouthful. Let me just break it down what this worksheet actually is saying. What this worksheet is basically evaluating is the findings or the truth behind whether or not the people who evaluated the program are being truthful. Just like are the findings actually, in line, or is there a bias? Basically, is there a bias on the findings that were found? So this is what this worksheet is going to be. It's divided into 3 components, so we're going to go over the first component. Now, the first part is just kind of take it as the summary of just like what is being evaluated, what is the program's name, who conducted the evaluation, at what stage did they conduct the evaluation, and the reasoning for conducting the evaluation for the program. Kind of getting the field as to where in the state of the program and why was it evaluated. Now, secondly, what we're going to look at is also the summary that the evaluators made for the program. And they're just kind of summaries, brief overviews as to what was found. And it also kind of lists what the evaluators recommended. So, like I said, this evaluation, this worksheet, is really meant to look at whether or not the summary findings of the assessment are actually, real or truthful, or whether or not there's a bias or not. So it's really looking into that. So the second part is divided into basically 5 components, and the 5 components will also tie into part 3. But for right now, this is just kind of like a summary of what those 5 components were looked at. So there's confirmability, which looks at whether or not the conclusions drawn from the available evidence and the research is relatively free of research bias. Dependability, whether or not the study is consistent over a period of time, and what method has the research used. 3, whether or not credibility, whether or not the people who studied this program were actually credible and authentic in the portrayal of what the findings were made to be. 4, transferability, do the findings fit other contexts, and how widely can they be generalized? I mean, those are kind of like the main points that they're made, and it's like a summary for each component, and it's a summary for each component as to whether or not the people who investigated or the people who made an evaluation on a program were, being truthful, whether or not they were credible, whether or not they were given the right tools or given or researched in an effective manner. Now, part 3 basically is the real shebang, and it's kind of like a checklist for the program to make on these, researchers, whether that be researchers who came in who are internally looking did a program evaluation, or those external program evaluators. My imagination is that I anticipate that the organization or the program would more likely do this kind of assessment check on an external people coming into the organization. So as I mentioned, there's a division. There's basically a five-point checklist, and within those checklists, there's like 5 to 10 questions being asked, and it's basically like, again, it goes, this whole thing is about whether or not the evaluators who came to look at the program are being truthful in the findings that they found. You know, are they reliable source? Reliability. Are they credible? That's like the big thing here to understand. Now, here's an example of what the worksheet basically looks like. Here's the example of the first checklist. There's, 5 questions, and they basically ask how well the researcher, or what kind of rating they would give the researcher. Now, A is a huge red flag. If A gets checked off, it basically means that there is some kind of problem. No, strike that, reverse that. I'm sorry. A is actually a good thing. B, on the other hand, is the one where there's like some serious problems. There's, column B is what you have to worry about. If you're getting all column A's on your research, you're fine. What you're finding is, the people who came into the organization to evaluate it are actually doing it in a faithful manner. They're actually caring to do it the right way. B, that there's some kind of bias going on. There's something shady, something not going right. So the more A's you have, the better. The A's basically are equivalent to 1. There's no serious issues, problems are found. B, on the other hand, there's like major methodological problems and issues, and they need to be addressed. So in doing this worksheet, what organizations will find is, if those people who are coming in to do the program evaluations are doing it in good faith, or are basically trying to screw over or manipulate data results. So, this is definitely a worksheet worth looking into for any organization who's, planning on having somebody come externally, or even on their even having internal people evaluating the program. It's supremely important that you look at whether or not the findings and the information presented is actually given in good faith. And that's basically what Appendix B is just, assessing, what these findings and recommendations are, and whether or not they're actually being true. I don't want to say faithful, but I think I want to use faithful, but whether or not they're actually being utilized and given in the right sense. So thank you so much for listening in. I know I went a little bit over the minute time, but I'm just long-winded like that. So thank you so much, and good luck to all. Bye.